Hi there VC, Steve Whitty here. Time for another video. Two within a week. Ultra productive. But this is a box of singles I'm going to show you. This is the second one I've done this year. I've came across quite a few singles, so I've got a few others that I'll do. Spread it around time. I want to file these away, so I thought best show me first before I file them away. So as I've got I think about 50 to show. Let's start off with All About Eve, Wild-Hearted Woman. All About Eve were sort of like goth, folk vibe in their music. They fell under the sort of tutelage of a band called The Mission. The singer Gillian Reagan had appeared on The Mission's supplied vocals on The Mission's debut album. Got Bad Company, Moving On. Bad Manners, Lorraine. Now, Bad Manners were at their pomp at the sort of like the ska blue beat revival of the late 70s, early 80s. I would rate him as sort of second division madness, led by Buster Bloodvessel. It was a big, sort of like a big bald-headed man. Yeah, they were a fun band. They never took it seriously. I think their biggest hit was their version of the Can Can. Blondie, Island of Lost Souls, which isn't one of their best. Also in the early 80s, there was a bit of a Latin salsa revival. And one of the bands that sort of picked up on it was Blue Rondo a la Turk, named after the Dave Brubeck song. This is their debut single, Me and Mr. Sanchez, which was a minor hit single for them. Other bands of that ilk, and other band I could think of that ilk was Modern Romance. However, Blue Rondo a la Turk did have a couple more minor hit singles. This was their biggest hit single, and they split up and morphed into Matt Bianco. Harlem Shuffle by Bob and Earl on Sue. Cheap Trick, Voices, and backed by Surrender. Cheap Trick, great band. This is Colourfield, Thinking of You. This is an upgrade. I found a copy in a picture sleeve. Biggest hit single, formed by Terry Hall after Fun Boys 3 had split up. They were around for a few years before Terry Hall went solo. This is Cream, Anyone for Tennis. There we go. Now I've got a couple of singles by a band. Obviously, in the early 80s, we had New Wobham. And the next few singles are going to feature New Wobham, what bands that consider New Wobham. One lesser known is Dead Ringer. This is a double single. Lead track is Maxine. And this is Direct Line. I don't know whatever happened to became of them. Like all movements, anyone that played it got signed. Some became more successful than others. And one of the most successful bands was Def Leppard. Now this is Wasted. This was their debut single for a Phonogram after they'd done their EP. I've got here Flexi-Disc, Dogs D'Amour, Medicine Man. Next up, Dr. Feelgood, Sneaking Suspicion. More Dr. Feelgood, As Long as the Price is Right. This came out in 3 versions. The picture cover had basically a woman in a bra, and there were 3 colours. There was blue, and the picture had a £5 note stuffed in down the cleavage. Brown, which I've got there, £10, and a purple one for representing £20. Bob Dylan, Subterranean Homesick Blues. Equals, Baby Come Back, featuring Eddie Grant. This was their biggest hit, their #1 single. Brian Ferry, Slave to Love. This came out in 1985. Fun Boy 3, The More I See, The Less I Believe. This came out in 1981, 82. This got banned by the BBC because it was, the video showed images of Northern Ireland, which at that point was quite a sensitive subject. There we go. Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, You're All I Need to Get By. Grand Funk, Walk Like a Man. There are cover versions, and some cover versions are better. This is Sammy Hagar, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. This is a demonstration record, promo record for the radio. Intro starts warbling on at 19 seconds. It's not a great cover version, but you know, it's different. This is the Heavy Metal Kids, Ain't Nothing Like a House Party. Sometimes record companies would do like sort of like promo singles to promote its act. So here I've got Steve Hillage, and this is Ley Lines to Glasdom, and then on the B side is Glenn Phillips live. I think this is a band called Hush, and it's their version of Dave Clark's Five Glad All Over. I think they were an Australian band. Something from my youth, the Jags, Back of My Hand. This was a minor hit. It was their biggest hit, but it was only a minor hit. Very catchy power pop, new wave pop. Yeah, I was pleased to find that, actually, because it did bring back memories of being 14. Jethro Tull, and that's Says She Was a Dancer. That's from the album Crest of a Knave. Sly and the Family Stone, Running Away. Staple Singers, You've Got to Earn It. More Staple Singers, and this is Let's Do It Again. Billy Bragg, Between the Wars. Bob Dylan, Union Showdown. Edwin Starr, You've Got My Soul on Fire. And this again was a promo. And I noticed with so particularly American promos, you'd have a mono version and a stereo version. Someone that's just passed away, Timmy Thomas. Why don't we live together? Elton John. This is a limited edition single. Which is Pinball Wizard and Benny the Jets. I believe it's a double A side. I believe what it did, and this is, I'm not sure when it came out. 1979. They released, did a lot of double A sides featuring his best songs. Elton's popularity was there, but it started to wane a little bit. It's Kinks, Tired of Waiting for You. Right, this is going to be one I'm going to have to read because it's. There we go. This is Man Bananas. I've got shown you part 2 because side 1 doesn't have the label on it. More Man, and this is Out of Your Head. Man were a band from Wales. Primarily in the 70s, they were at their pomp. I think there's still a version going, though most have passed away, sadly. Deke Leonard is a particularly good favourite guitarist of Pete at Psychotron, my local shop. Montrose, Bad Motor Scooter, I Don't Want It. The irony is that Bad Motor Scooter features Sammy Hagar on vocals, and this obviously is featuring the picture on the cover is a lineup that doesn't feature Sammy Hagar. This came out in 1980. There was a series that Warner Brothers did of like AC/DC, Montrose, Van Halen, Saxon, sort of like getting on the new wave of heavy metal. So pleased to pick this one. This is Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, Red Frame, White Light, a song about telephone boxes. Yes, it is. And it was their second single when they on Factory. This is Outlaws Breaker Breaker. This again is another demo. Robert Palmer, Jealous. Graham Parker. This is known as the Pink Parker because it's on pink vinyl. And this is, the lead track is Hold Back the Night, which I think was a minor hit single for him in the UK. And then this is Graham Parker on his own. And this is Stupefaction. Pirates. This is Don't Own Me, Don't Munch It. Yeah. Pirates morphed out of Johnny Kidd and the Pirates after he died. They kept going, and they started playing again and got very popular in the late 70s. They got some really good support slots. I think they supported AC/DC at one point. Robert Plant, Heaven Knows, from 1988. I think Robert Plant is quite an interesting career because he'd flirted with being a pop star after Zeppelin. Found that it wasn't quite what he wanted, so he went back to going on his own way, and that whole period was the start of it. Sort of local. Sort of independent punk band, the Pokers. This is Ignite. Primitives, Secrets Up. Quartz, and this is their version of Nantucket Sleigh Ride. Quartz were a local band, Birmingham band. Really popular around the area. Never really got out into the big league major record label, but they were very popular, and that sold heaps in Birmingham when it came out. It was locally released. Rolling Stones, and this is Do 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 Heartbreaker, American single. Queen. Thank God it's Christmas. Well, we are in September, so we got to start planning. The Rattles, The Witch. Rattles, a German band. Very still going. Very popular. Yeah, so very popular in Germany. This was their only hit single. Very, very eerie, very scary sounding record. I remember when I first heard it. More Rolling Stones. This is Wild Horses, again another American single. Again, and this is Beast of Burden. Again, another American single. Roxy Music, Jealous Guy. This has got great because I found it in a cover. This was their only #1 single. This was released 81. As it says, a tribute. It was a tribute to John Lennon. Obviously just passed away earlier. They did their version. and it seemed to capture the mood, and it got to the #1. I've showed some Graham Parker, and here's Rumour, Emotional Traffic. Saxon, Never Surrender, hit single for him in 1981. Yeah, they were very popular around the around early 80s. Unfortunately, they weren't the most MTV friendly bands, and obviously when MTV started picking up, particularly in America, and then bands like Motley Crue, Rat, they started to appear on the scene. It never quite felt quite the same from the sort of, as I said, they weren't MTV friendly. This is Scorpions, Passion Rules the Game. This is on red vinyl. Sham 69, Hurry Up Harry. With the line, we're all going down the pub. And this is the, you can see the bottles of beer and the cigarettes, the ashtray. This came from their That's Life album, which was a concept album, which was supposed to be a day of the life of a young punk. Candy Staton, Young Hearts Run Free. Next up, I've got some Steve Gibbons. This is Steve Gibbons' band, Down in the City. Down in the Bunker. Rock and Roll Blues. Loving Me, Loving You. As I said, Steve Gibbons is still going. He just turned 80 recently, so a bit of a local hero. Skids, Goodbye Civilians, and their later singles. Small Faces, on their earlier singles, Hey Girl. Almost done. This record, I didn't realise I hadn't got a copy. Morning Has Broken, and Cat Stevens. So it was a hymn that was, and we used to sing it at school. Unfortunately, we started singing when we started singing at the school I went to. It was just after this came up. We used to get pelters from the headmaster about singing it in Cat Stevens' version, going morning, rather than just going morning. But hey. And then the final one, another flexi disc, Stiff Little Fingers, and that's Falling Down, Won't Be Told, Is That What You Fought the War For? There you go, VC. That's a quick run me through the box. Is there anything there that you liked? Feel free to comment, leave a comment. I always try and endeavour to get back to you. So I'm recording this on Saturday. It'll be published on Sunday. I've got my Psychotron t-shirt, Records t-shirt. I'm looking after the shop today, so that's my Saturday sorted. Music and speaking to people about music. So whatever you get up to, VC, make sure you have a good one. Look after yourselves. Keep spinning. More importantly, keep on smiling.